Hi everyone. So I wanted to do a video talking about my physical body and the things about it that are, let's say, less than ideal. That things I won't ever really be able to change, and actually things that I learned from it. How I've adjusted to it, and how that even has helped me to be a better person. So for me, one of my legs is shorter than the other, about like this much, like a tiny bit. And you would never think that such a tiny bit would make such a big difference, right? Well, as a kid, when I would, walk a lot or run a lot, when my right ankle would get tired and it would feel strained, where I feel like I really couldn't use it. Like if I tried stepping on it, it would kind of hurt a tiny bit. So I would avoid walking on it until it was rested enough for me to be able to walk again on it. So I just adjusted to it, and because of that little difference, my bottom of my feet were more flat. I had more flat feet, and that's just me. That's my body, and it's something I won't ever really be able to change. And how that has, let's say, affected my lifestyle, you could say, is that when I go walking somewhere, I walk more slowly compared to other people. Because for me, walking is normal, the pace I walk at. But when I walk with another person, hang out with friends, or any situation, or walk with other people, I always end up walking in the back, or I have to force myself to keep a pace, which is more tiring. And it's something to do with, let's say, if I was stronger, like if I had a stronger body, it wouldn't change that fact, like how my foot feels, and the whole like movement. And so when I walk, I just walk what's comfortable. And you always say there's always a good side and a bad side of things, right? So in this case, I noticed who I am as a person. I would always enjoy looking at the scenery because I'm, in a way, was forced to have more time to look at things, which I think is really interesting. How maybe if didn't have that in my foot, I wouldn't actually have been that way. I've actually enjoy walking to places, even like I enjoy walking somewhere new, looking at everything, you know. And if I had, let's say, like a normal, same size legs, length legs, then I would maybe be like everyone else or walk faster, and I maybe don't see things so much. I don't know. Another thing too is whenever I would have to do long distance running as part of classes for school, the physical classes, I I noticed that I wasn't able to run as fast as other people, but I didn't let that stop me. What I did was focus. Okay, well, on long distance running, like how to pace yourself, and for me, I very much focused on my breath and keeping one pace, sticking to it. It's like the story, the tortoise and the hare, where it's slow and steady wins the race. And I really like the idea of having stamina, of going long distance, of keeping a pace for a very long time. And when I would do that, I noticed that I would pass other people who, at first, they were running faster, but then they slowed down. And when I stuck at one pace and stuck to it, I would catch up and do very well compared to other people. So, even though my right ankle will hurt sometimes, I didn't really let that stop me. And in a way that actually developed me as a person, where I enjoy that idea of looking into long term, looking into the future, focusing on, what if I do something right now and do it very consistently, how does that affect the future of things? And that's very much part of who I am as a person. So it's kind of interesting how I have two different situations where the same, let's say, abnormality in my body led me to be a certain way. I mean, obviously I could have treated things differently, I could have wanted to despair, hopelessness, and whatever, defeat, but I didn't, and this is who I am. And I always noticed too how when same thing with my nose as well, where with my nose it's crooked, and what I studied within psychology that whenever you're asymmetrical in your faces, people automatically view that as less attractive. So, even though people are unaware of this, of how his nose is crooked, they still affects people's perception of me. Like when they look at me, they'll think something weird. And it's not something that's even conscious, it's something that's unconscious, and I've accepted that. But in a way that's actually supported me, because when I meet people or get to know people, I look at who they are more. And I notice I have a very deep appreciation for people where if they have like a physical deformity or something weird with their face, like a crooked eye, that doesn't stop me at all to get to know them. And I think that's actually helped me be a person who looks very deeper into people, to who they are, and not really look at the superficial things, like how they look. And in a way, it also gave me strength to be who I am, because, well, if everyone else is going to look at me and think weird things, well, I guess I'll just be myself and go after what's important. So, it's something that I've accepted. And two, when I make sounds, when I speak, because of my crooked nose, the air doesn't go through my nose, so the sounds I produce are more nasal sounds, with certain sounds and words. And that also affects my speech, and that also affects people's perception of that. But that doesn't change my content of my words, nor my mind, nor who I am as a person. And that's still my responsibility. So even though majority of people will probably never able to really look at me and listen to me because of these points, but the very few people who do are people who are more exceptional, I guess, like me, who are able to look deeper, and in a way they get more, let's say, rewarded for that ability. And for me, it actually opens the door that people who are with me more are actually more looking to who I am as a person, not how I look. So in a way, that is more rewarding in that sense. And in a way, it's actually good in a way when you're not surrounded by people who, let's say, are more superficial. You actually save a lot of time that way. And I've used my time well with myself, walking around at a slow pace and doing long distance running. So these are things that I probably will never change because they require surgery, and it just doesn't make sense to do that. And yeah. And besides that, something else for my body type is my parents, both of them, and you can just see my family. We tend to have larger bellies, meaning our, let's say, fat goes right to our belly. And it's not even necessarily even fat, it could just be muscle as well, where I can very easily, by choice, like stick out my whole stomach and it looks like, let's say, I'm pregnant, or then very easily just put it back in and be like normal. And when I'm relaxed, it like sticks out. But that's just our body types, and it's something that's very genetic. And I'm happy like that. So yeah, I can go on and on. You could say any genetic detail, like my facial hair, my eyes, my whatever, my shoulders, or my height, my skin color, how I burn in about half an hour in the sun. All these random different things, were born like this way, or like my nose, it was an accident, like I was hitting my nose. These things happen, but that doesn't change who I am. And that's all. So actually, you're able to take a lot of things and learn from them. And yeah, in the end, I do this for myself, right? And that's what it's all about. and that way it's always rewarding for myself. So I'm happy. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.